Hey Mike, could you help us understand what, how you go through the selection process for the top part of the deer process order form?
Sure. So on the top part of the order form, most everybody will take their loins. You know, they will want those. You'll want those either cut in half or butterflied. We will ask you those questions. You would put them into butterflies. We would put them into butterflies for you, and you would put them into a meal, saute them with some mushrooms and brown gravy and onions. Or if we were to leave them in half, cut them in halves, you would get your loins cut about 8 inches, 9 inches in length, and you can grill those and then cut them and slice them yourself. Either way, they're really good. So the loins are important because everybody most likely wants the loins. The one thing that will prevent us from giving you loins is if it was shot in the loins. So when your deer is shot 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, that's going to have an effect on how much loin or how much meat you get back from your deer. And we won't know that until we get it on the table, until we get it on our operating table and start cutting it up. So the loins is always a big deal, right? So we want you to have them. The other thing is the tenderloins. The tenderloins are different than the loins. So the tenderloins, which is on the inside of the deer, we'll cut those out and leave them whole. A lot of times the tenderloins are gone. And the reason they're gone is because hunters will take them as their camp. That's their camp meal. That's what they're going to eat that night. So those will be gone sometimes. The other thing that happens is when they eviscerate, hunters, when they eviscerate, take the guts out, they take the tenderloins out with the guts, with the stomach, because they don't know. They don't know, or maybe they're doing it in the dark and they can't see, or they're working by a candle or a flashlight. So the inside tenderloins are sometimes there, sometimes they're not there. If they're there, we'll give them to you, if they're not damaged or tore up. After the loins, then we ask questions like, how much deer burger do you want? Maybe you don't want any deer burger. If you don't want deer burger, then you're going to have a decision as to make what kind of sausages you want. But on the deer burger, we have options for you. You can get ground deer, nothing added, just plain pure 100% of your deer. Or we recommend other options, like we add 30% bacon to your deer, or we suggest adding 30% beef to your deer, or we add 30% pork to your deer. Now those 3 options cost extra. But why would you do that? Why would you add beef? Why would you add pork? Why would you add deer bacon? Well, sometimes deer meat is a little dry, and so sometimes it needs a little fat. And when we add beef or pork, we're not adding beef fat. We're not adding pork fat. We're adding beef trimmings and we're adding pork trimmings. The reason we don't add beef fat or pork fat is because down the road, if you have your deer meat in your freezer a year from now or 6 months, the fat is what will get rancid. The meat, the leanness doesn't get rancid, so it's the fat. So we don't want to add anything to that could cause it to be rancid. One of my favorites is the deer bacon burger, where we add 30% bacon to your burger on your deer. So 2 things have to happen there. Number 1, you gotta like deer burger. Number 2, you gotta like bacon. So the bacon is in the deer burger, and it's already in it, so you don't have to add any more bacon to it. So we push that because we think it's a very good product. If you're not keen on having bacon, then go with the beef added or the pork added.
And what determines what kind of roast you might get out of your deer?
So out of a deer, we would get roast out of the hind quarter. Now, if it's shot in the shoulders, which is where most deer are, the shoulders or deers are shot, the front quarters don't make good roast, and there'll be bone fragments in the shoulder blade. So, you know, even to try to get meat out of the shoulders is a challenge. It's certainly not a roast. So if you do like roast, it really needs to come out of the rounds, off the hind legs, as long as the hind legs are not shot up or messed up. One thing that does happen, we never know the condition of the deer. But when it's on the table and we're cutting it up and we see what we have to work with, it can change, because you may not have rounds. Maybe that's where you shot it. Maybe it was shot twice, right? So, you know, we can't fix that. But whatever it is, it is.
Well, how long have you been butchering deer?
So I butchered my first deer when I was 8 years old, and now I'm 67. So over the course of my career, decades, man, I hate to say this, but I have probably cut up 10,000 deer, maybe more than 10,000 deer.
Well, I guess you make everybody feel like that deer was a special deer for you to cut up, right?
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I try to do. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to address some of the other options that you have for us on the order form next.